Okay, we're going to be putting in a drop-in spindle. So these are a drop-in spindle. These are all custom CNC machined for our bumpers. We have an internal sleeve that's actually machined and welded in double shear in your bumper. And if you get a stage 1, you still have this in, you just have a cap that's over the top. If you have a stage 2 on up, you're going to have the spindle assembly because you have a swing out. So the spindle assembly, when you get your spindle, it's going to have this unit, and it's going to have a small bag of small hardware bag with it that has a single bolt and a washer and a lock washer. So when you install it, a couple things that I recommend having is some anti-seize, and then also have yourself some thread locker so you can lock your thread. We're going to be putting it in, and then I'm going to be using a torque wrench and torquing it in place so it's make sure that we properly secure it. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glove up, and I'm going to go ahead and put anti-seize on the part that slides into the sleeve, and then it'll be ready for me to go ahead and put the bolt in on the other side. So we're going to take the bolt now, we're going to put the lock washer on and the washer, and then I'm going to take my blue Loctite and I'm going to add it to the threads. I'm doing this just as for two reasons. Obviously, lock the bolt in place, which is important. We want to make sure we're locking this bolt in place. But the other part that we're doing is that this acts as a waterproof, and this is inside the wheel well, so there's going to be a lot of water spray hitting this thing. So I'm putting the thread locker on there. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to be putting the landing pad on the bumper. Now the landing pad is the mounting point that the swing arm, when it closes, it lands onto the landing pad, and then the latch latches onto the landing pad. The key advantage of our design is the fact that this bolts on so that you can replace it if you ever should get hit from behind and something gets damaged. This is designed to actually go before your spindle. So the other part about it too is that we have the ultra high molecular plastic that we've CNC machined for the swing arm to be resting on, and it rests on that so there's no metal on metal, there's no powder coat to powder coat, there's no chance of squeaking, and they can be fully replaceable. These little landing pads can be the actual pieces can be replaced. So to be putting this on, this one here we kind of pre-assembled. This has two different bolt kits that we're using. So one of the bolt kits, the first bolt kit you're going to grab is the bolt kit that says latch, landing pad, gas strut. Now the latch, landing pad, gas strut, all of that hardware happens to be 5/16, and that's why we have it in that one separate bag. And so you do have a gas strut in your kit. The gas strut has a 5/16 mount on it, and so you're going to have a washer, lock washer, and nut for the gas strut. Now you're going to actually have two of them because it's on either end, because both ends use the same piece. So we'll mount the gas strut mount in a minute, but for right now we're going to go ahead and focus on the landing pad. And then the second bolt kit that the landing pad uses is called the landing pad or wear pad bolt kit. And the wear pad bolt kit is for these ultra high molecular wear pads. All of these bolts are 1/4 inch, so they're 1/4 20. And you're going to notice there's two long ones and there's two shorter ones. The shorter ones are used on the landing pad on the top, so there's a short amount of thread sticking out. The longer ones are going to go straight through the bottom, and that's part of the mounting system that's mounting to the bumper. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting this on. We're going to come in from under the bumper. Again, we're doing this with the bumper with it's not on the truck yet, and we're going to bolt this on. I'm going to be using a 1/2 inch box wrench for the bottom for the 5/16 bolts that have nuts on them. The 5/16 button heads use a 3/16 Allen, and then the 1/4 20 bolts and button heads are going to use a 3/32 Allen, and then we're going to be using a 7/16 box wrench on the nut itself. So we'll go ahead and get this bolted on to the bumper, and then that'll be completed, and we can move over to getting the ball mount for the gas strut put on the bumper. This is a small 10mm ball that's on the gas strut. You're going to have to take this off the strut to mount it to the bumper before you put the bumper on. And you definitely want to put this on before you put the bumper on, because it's pretty hard to get your hand up on the backside to get this nut in. So this is the gas strut's ball and ball lock. So this little lock bolts on, and it's 5/16 threads under the guard. We're going to leave the guard on for now, but the lock that holds it on is this little tiny wire right here, and you can see this little edge of it. If I push up on it, it's going to flip around to the other side. I'm going to rotate around, and so this wire is sitting on a little through hole that goes through here and here. So as I pull this back, it comes off the ball lock. Now I'll be able to just pop the ball lock off with a screwdriver, and then I can bolt the ball lock in place. And then once we have the bumper on the truck, we come back, snap the ball on top of the ball, or on top of the ball receiver, and then this is going to go on through this hole and then through the hole in the back. And once it goes through the hole in the back, this just flips over and just snaps back down to lock it in place, and that keeps the ball from coming off. But that's how the ball lock, or the system works as a lock. So don't lose this little stainless steel wire. You definitely need this once you put the bumper on the truck. So this is the ball mount that we just took off of the gas strut, and we have our 5/16 stainless steel nut, lock washer, and washer that's in the bolt kit bag that is the latch, landing pad, and gas strut bag, and that has all the pieces that you need in it. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove the black cover for the threads. That's just a protector for shipping, but we're going to hang on to that cover because we're actually going to use that as part of our stop for the swing arm. But the gas strut ball mount just goes into the hole like that, and you come in from below, put your washer and lock washer in place. Okay, so bolt kit 2 is going to have your 3/8 inch 1-inch stop that's going to be coming in this hole here, and we're going to be taking that bolt, mounting it from below, bringing it up, and then we're going to be putting a washer, lock washer nut on it. And then once that's on it, we're going to use the plastic, the little vinyl cap that came on the gas strut. That's going to go over the top of it just as a little pad, so when the swing arm, if the swing arm comes all the way, it can actually touch that. The other part of bolt kit 2 is another 10 millimeter ball, and this is going to be located over here on the bumper, and that goes right there, and that's going to be for your factory swing out door. Your door ball mount is going to actually, your strut's going to actually mount to that location on the bumper. And so the kit has the 5/16 washer and lock washer and nut that's going to go on the back side, so we're going to go ahead and put those in. Now we have the back door open, and this is the factory gas strut that holds the door, that allows you to open and close the door, assists the door. We're going to be disconnecting the gas strut from the mount that goes to the body, and then we're going to be taking the mount off the body because we're not going to be using this mount anymore. The gas strut's going to be mounting to the top of the bumper. So we're going to take the gas strut off of its ball mount, and there's a lock on it, and this lock is a strap steel, and you just come in with a small screwdriver and you can push the lock, the strap lock back, and I'm keeping my finger on the back because I don't want to take the strap completely off. I just need to make it so it releases the ball. Now if you take the strap completely off, you can put it back on again. You just have to spread it apart and get it on. But I just pushed it back enough that now I'll be able to lift up on the ball and get it to come right off. So this is at this gas strut at the door. You don't have to take this off when you do the install. I'm going to take it off just for the sake of simplicity. So I'm going to use a 13 millimeter box wrench to go ahead and release this ball mount from the door. And it just backs off. And then it's going to give me a little more room to work. So it's just a little cleaner for the install. I'll come back and put it back on the door. So we're going to go ahead and take the bracket off. These are 2 bolts that are held on. They are TP40 Torx. So they're not a T40, they're a TP40, meaning they're the Torx Plus. A T40 will do it, just be careful that you don't round out the bolt shoulders. Preferably have a Torx Plus to be able to take it off. So we're not using this door gas strut mount anymore, but the bolts themselves, we're going to go ahead and put those back in those threaded points and then tighten them down just to fill the holes, because we don't need to leave some holes open on the truck. So I'm going to finger start those, and I'll come back and I'll shoot them back into the truck. So we've just put the bumper on, and we're going to put a single retaining bolt in the bottom on the left side. Now we're just using the factory flange bolts. They're what we use for the factory mounting points. So that bolt's going to go in. It's going to act as a safety bolt. Now, I'm not putting one on this side, and the reason for that is because of the size of the taillight and how tucked up tight we have the bumper. The swing arm assembly actually sits below the taillight. So if you put this on all the way, you will not be able to slide the swing arm on. You actually have to have the bumper to where you can pull it out a little bit to be able to drop the swing arm on and then slide the bumper back. All right, so now we got everything ready to put the swing arm on. So first we're going to do is go ahead and prep the swing arm by pre-packing the lower bearing, which is the large one, and then we're going to get the seal standing by. Bearing's going to go in. We're going to add extra grease inside the pivot housing, and then we're going to put the bearing in and go ahead and press or tap the lower lip seal in. That's going to help retain the bearing, but also keep all the garbage out on the trail. The top bearing we're going to pre-pack, have that ready to go, gloved up to go ahead and pack the bearings. Once those are assembled, we've already put our latch on the swing arm. So we're going to be ready to go ahead and pull this out slightly, drop the swing arm on with the aid of a helper, and then we're going to slide the bumper back in position, bring the swing arm over, lock it in place, and then we'll have already put our bearings, top bearing in, set our cotter pin, and go ahead and get ready to put our top cover on as well. So we're going to go ahead and put that on now. So we have our billet machined top cap for the spindle. We're going to go ahead and, a little tip for you, use the black RTV that we included in your kit. Put a little bit of RTV around the underside of the lip here, so when you put it on the spindle assembly, it helps create a better seal and keeps moisture out. You can still pull it off if you ever need to service it. We did machine a small lip in it so you can actually take it off. But this is just going to be a press fit, so a little bit of RTV on the outside, and we're ready to put this on. Next, we're going to put the gas strut on. Remember that we undo the lock by moving that little wire. It just fell off right there, so that little wire. The ball is now exposed. I can take this and I can snap it down onto the truck, and then I put the lock back on again, and the lock is going to slide through the little hole all the way to the front, and then it flips up and over and snaps on itself. Now with the swing arm wide open, careful that the swing arm doesn't hit the side of your truck. Go ahead and bring the bolt up from below, and I've put a little bit of RTV sealant on the bottom of that so that this is going to seal this up, and I'm going to go ahead and put the last remaining 5/16 nut and lock washer that we've got from our kit that had the swing arm, latch, and lock washer assembly. I'm going to put this on and tighten it down. This is just a 1/2 inch wrench for tightening it down. So the little small cover that's this shape here goes right on using the self-drilling tapping screws that are in the kit for it. Goes right in. Use the RTV that we've included in the kit, put some RTV around this so it's nice and sealed, so when this goes on, that's all nice and waterproof. And I'm going to put a little extra bit on the heads of the bolts or the screws when they go in. So now you're going to grab in bolt kit 2 is the 3/8 inch stop. That's going to go in here, and we're going to add the stop now. Now if you add the stop earlier, you would not be able to get the swing arm open enough to be able to put the strut on. So now the stop's going to go on, and that's going to keep the arm from swinging around to hit the truck. So I'm going to come in with the 1 inch long 3/8 16 bolt, and that's going to come up from below like that. And I'm going to put a washer, lock washer, and nut on it. Now, one of the things that we've done is that when you put your gas strut on, you've saved the rubber tips from the gas strut, and we're going to put that right on top of that nut as soon as we're done. It's going to go right on like that. So the license plate mounting bracket goes on the right fuel can rack. It just goes up, and when you put your fuel can rack bolts in, that's what captures the plate. So we're going to put the gas strut on the new 10mm mount. I'm going to come in real quick just to be kind of kind to it because it is a brand new ball mount. Put a little bit of grease on there. That is some red lithium grease. You can use moly, it's fine. I mean, dry would work too, but all it does is just snaps right back down on it, and then you're going to bring the lock back, and when the lock comes back, the lock snaps in place, and it locks the ball lock in place.